Now more about travel, because travellers arriving in England from a number of countries, including France, Italy and Spain, are to be exempt from a 2-week quarantine from next Friday. The Transport Secretary, Grant Shapps, refused to reveal details about the other countries, though, although the United States and Greece are not on that list. Well, I'm joined now by Sean Moriarty, who is CEO of Quinta do Lago Group, a hotel group in Portugal, in the Algarve, with an emphasis on golf, as you might expect in that part of the world. I'm also joined by Dimitrios Buhalis, the Deputy Director of the International Centre for Tourism and Hospitality Research. That's at the School of Services Management at Bournemouth University. Thank you both very much for joining us. Sean, let's begin with you, with that beautiful blue sky behind you there in Portugal on the Algarve. I think lots of people are rather jealous of that sunshine at the moment. We don't know what the situation is with Portugal, do we, with regards to this quarantine and whether that quarantine is going to be eased in terms of a reciprocal arrangement and so on, although some of the discussion in recent weeks has led us to believe that Portugal may not be on this list for people arriving from England. How prepared is the Algarve, first of all, for tourists to arrive? Because clearly the British tourist market in general is a huge market for you there.
Yes, it is indeed, and we're eagerly waiting right now. Right now, our database is more eager than ever to speak to us. And they're waiting for this. If they can come down, they're willing to come down here. There's no quarantine in Faro when they get here, but of course it's the worry about when they get back to the UK. Do they have to quarantine for a further 14 days after that? And that's the big wait. It's a massive part of our business, the UK. So we're all waiting to hear the news today, hopefully.
OK, it may not come today, of course. If it doesn't, are you hoping that some people will come anyway, perhaps via Spain?
Well, via Spain or by Dublin, yes, that can happen. We are getting flights from the UK. We have 3 flights today. We had 4 flights yesterday, and some people were on them. And you know, I think a lot of UK people have come down here to quarantine if they were lucky enough to be in that situation. So I still believe we'll get some. It won't be anywhere near what it would be like if the quarantine was lifted. So it has a big impact for sure.
OK, well, we'll come back to you in a minute, Sean, but Dimitrios Buhalis there in Bournemouth. If we look at Greece as another example of a country and how it's handling this situation, well, the UK is on a list of countries that it's not allowing into Greece until the 15th of July. It's been looking really closely at the epidemiology, the rate of infections in a number of countries, China, Brazil, the UK and Sweden amongst those. Why is there that extra caution in Greece, do you think? Is it putting the health system ahead of the economy?
Good morning, Anita. I think it's the other way around. Greece has announced that does not allow direct flights from the UK and from Sweden until the 15th of July, and is looking at the epidemiological data in order to understand which countries it will allow in. Greece has done very, very well during the COVID period, and Greece had only about 190 deaths during all this period. So it's in a much better epidemiological position than the UK. And I think Greece is quite cautious that when it opens, as it opened the borders from the 1st of July, that the people who come in are free from COVID and they're in a better position to actually enjoy holiday and not affecting anybody else.
Yes, so absolutely. Even though, of course, you know, that tourism sector is hugely important for Greece, it just wants to wait a little bit longer, exercise that caution for a little bit longer, not to lose the gains that it's made in fighting COVID-19.
Absolutely, and of course, Greece really welcomes tourism from all over the world, and the UK is a particular market for Greece. 1/4 of all the tourists who are arriving to Greece are coming from the UK, and people are quite keen to welcome back the British travelers. But we need to do it safely, and we need to do it in a way that does not give any kind of doesn't jeopardize the health of anybody else. And I think it's the same thing like in Bournemouth. You saw a couple of, last week we had a couple of wonderful days. And again, a lot of people went straight to the beach, but we have to be very, very careful on how we do it. And I think it's absolutely critical that everybody understands the responsibility that they've got when they travel, and also the responsibility that they've got when they offer tourism and travel services. We need to make sure that everybody is safe and everybody is responsible for everybody being safe. And I think it's critical for people to understand this responsibility when they are consumers themselves, travelers, or when they are service providers.
If I can go back to you now, Sean, I mean, do you think that the approach of the Westminster government to the situation in Portugal at the moment is being skewed by the outbreak in the capital, Lisbon? And do you think that's fair for the rest of the country? I mean, what are the infection rates like in other parts of Portugal, like the Algarve, for example, where people are really coming for that sort of outdoorsy holiday, clearly in the sunshine, playing golf, etc.?
Well, in the Algarve, it's been quite low. It's in total is 600 cases in the Algarve, and so it's been very controlled. In Lisbon, they had an unfortunate outbreak, but again, it was, people know where it is. It's in a non-tourist area, and those areas have been closed down. The municipalities have reacted very quickly on that, and I think for the last number of months, Portugal has been very much recognised as doing a good job and being ahead of this. We closed down this areas very early on. We're open over a month now, or 6 weeks, and the increase in cases in the Algarve has still been very low. As I said, it's 600 in total. So I think there is ways around this, especially with maybe a flight line into Faro and some local controls if the people are very worried about Lisbon. But if you look into the detail of the situations in Lisbon, you can see that it is very much controlled, and it's controlled in areas that are very quiet and not tourism areas, and those areas are now closed down by the municipality.
OK, well, really good to talk to both of you about this situation. Sean Moriarty there in Portugal at the Quinta do Lago Resort, and also Dimitrios Buhalis at Bournemouth University. Thank you very much.